Hi, my name is Narayanan and I'm the CEO of Avaz. We make products for people with speech and language disabilities that empower them to communicate freely and build meaningful relationships with their loved ones. Back in 2008, there's a school here in Chennai called Vidyasagar, and they are a school which houses and works with children with really complex disabilities. So people with cerebral palsy, autism, and they wanted to kind of bring all the brains from the IITs and other professionals to come together and build a product that would help people with speech disabilities to communicate in India. So back in 2008, if you were a person with a speech disability, you had no way of communicating that you want a dosa or you don't like carrots. So there was nothing like that, and that is what started our journey into the creation of Avaz. So at the heart of it, Avaz is a picture and a text-based communication system. So like how I'm communicating via my speech, there are people who are not able to speak, so they use Avaz to communicate their thoughts, their ideas, and their wants. So AAC stands for Alternative and Augmentative Communication. So anything that enables someone to communicate when speech is not an option, that comes off to be called AAC, or Alternative and Augmentative Communication. This is Avaz, and you can see there are pictures here. So I can start off by saying something like I want and go something to eat. And I can say drinks. I want coffee. And then I can speak it out.
I want coffee.
So what this is enabling people to do is that, say for a child, they can say, I want milk, or I want ball. So they're able to build language and also then communicate across different contexts. So for children with autism, for example, the app is completely customized to help them build language over a period of time. And not only that, it also helps them communicate quickly. So things like
down,
I can
quick,
I want to go to the toilet.
I want to go to the toilet.
They're able to communicate their functional needs, and they're also able to communicate their emotions and feelings. Those are also important. So a lot of time we categorize kids with autism, especially kids with autism, that they're having a quote unquote meltdown. Actually what is happening is that they are unable to communicate, and that is leading to them communicating through behavior. So Avaz helps them communicate what they are feeling, what they are expressing, what they want to say someone, and more importantly, it gives them the power to say no. A lot of people with conditions like cerebral palsy, or even conditions like acquired disabilities like stroke, aphasia, or someone's had an accident and they're not able to speak anymore. So what Avaz does is gives them the ability to use use their hands, or use kind of like any sort of high-tech eye tracking mechanisms to communicate. So for example,
keyboard.
Avaz has a keyboard as well. So say someone who has had an accident and they have acquired, they're not able to speak anymore, they can use their hands or use some other mechanism to type out the words using this. So I can do something like
clear,
I feel, and then it comes with the prediction as well. So I can say I feel, I can say I feel happy,
A,
and then it comes with P,
happy.
And then I can speak it out. I can share this as a text message. So if it's on a phone, so I'm showing it on a device, but if it's on a phone, you can share it as a WhatsApp message. So it also enables you to kind of communicate remotely as well. Whereas in the US, for example, there are already fixed systems and structures in place. So if they go to a school, they will do, the child might have an evaluation where Avaz will be recommended for the student, and then there is support from the speech therapist, there is support from teachers, and there's a system that is somewhat present in the US. Whereas in India, we still find the parents are kind of like figuring it out all by themselves. And a lot of times these professionals are also not necessarily aware of solutions like Avaz. This was the case until like a couple of years back. And what we realized was that just creating a nice innovative technology is not enough. We really had to work on adoption as well. And so we started creating, we now created a training module for speech therapists, for special educators, and even for parents to use Avaz with the child. And there are these myths, for example, about, oh, if I use Avaz, my child will not speak, or my child will stop speaking. Whereas research and our anecdotal evidence has proven that to be completely wrong. In fact, children who are actually speaking a bit, when they start using Avaz, they speak even more because they're listening to that reinforcement again and again. And that really helps them build and improve their vocalizations. And for kids who don't speak at all, Avaz really opens up so much more of their self-expression. So it is up to parents also to kind of make the choice, right? So do you want the child, do you want to continue speaking, and why do you want to wait for speech to come? You can work with Avaz along with speech therapy, along with different things that you want to try out to ensure that the child speaks and verbalizes. We have created multiple vocabularies for different languages. Right now, I'm showing only about 6 languages here. So
Tamil.
So let me start with Tamil. So there are like phrase-based vocabularies here, and so I can say.
Vali, yenge, எனக்கு வலிக்குது.
So I can as a child or as a communicator, I can use this. What Avaz really opens up is the ability to add any language, and kind of like, and there are multiple speech to text or text to speech solutions available. So you can add like a word in Bengali. We have a Bengali vocabulary as well. You can add a word in Gujarati, you can add a word in Oriya. There are text to speech engines that work with Avaz. So you can completely customize that. Including the 6 Indian languages, we support almost 17 languages. So we support a lot of global languages like French, Danish, Swedish, as well. So a total of about 17 languages that we support right now. We've started working on a lot of small but actually useful features that AI can add on to something like Avaz. So for example, up until now, the sound, the voices that you heard from the app, there was no one in the world, or no AAC user in the world who could say something angrily, or who could say something sarcastically. All the voices sounded the same, like it sounds the same as the voice that you hear in your GPS. So it sounded the same. But now we have kind of added voices which are cloud based, and they have tonality, they have emotions, they have sarcasm, and that children and adults have really started liking that because it adds their personality to it, right? So like when I speak, I'm speaking with anger or emotion. How do you add that to a person with a disability? You don't deny emotions for a person who can't speak, right? So that's how do you add those things. The true success is really for me, like the vision that I have and that I want to see in this kind of using Avaz as an example, is that if I go out for say dinner to a restaurant, I want to see a child using Avaz, communicating what they want to eat and having a conversation with, say, the server, the waiter, and no one else around them is finding that surprising, right? So that's an important thing. They are not only able to hold a conversation, not only order food, but hold a conversation with a waiter, but also everyone around them finds it completely normal. They are kind of desensitized, right? So glasses are a great example of assistive technology. I would love Avaz to be as invisible as glasses in the future.
Places to eat. Cream Center.
Yeah. What would you like to eat here?
Paneer Sizzler.
Paneer sizzler. Okay.
Yes, I think presuming the child's competence and the fact that they have the ability to surprise you is the key message for any parent. It is a challenging situation that any parent who has a child with speech difficulties, there are so many kind of like so many differing opinions, options that you hear. All those are definitely all those kind of play a definite part in your thought process. But I would really encourage you to think from the child's perspective as to what can help that child to blossom, and what is it that we are kind of like presuming about the child. Can we have slightly better expectations, slightly higher expectations from the child itself? I strongly believe that AAC technology in the next 5-10 years is going to be very, very different. It's going to be very different from what I'm holding on to right. And we already started on some of that. We're kind of very excited to work on some of the generative AI related things, some of the LLMs, and so that is a very promising field. And at the same time, I strongly believe that how do you empower the parent? How do you empower the speech therapist? How do you empower the special educator so that they can kind of provide the best intervention for the child? That's also the kind of like the key aspect that we have to keep in mind in the next 5 to 10 years. Currently be working on a system that kind of like uses your eyes to like tracks your eyes, and then using that you can control the entire computer and use Avaz. So for example, a patient in ICU, those people are not able to move their hands, but they are able to control their gaze, and so using the eyes they are able to control, say, a computer or an iPad. And so now Avaz will be compatible with those eye tracking solutions, which opens up a very exciting realm of possibilities for adults with disabilities. Again, back in 2007, we got incubated out of the IT Madras Research Park itself, and so our foundation roots are here. Just the fact that you're in an ecosystem where you're kind of working with other startups, and then now in the recent few years other assistive technology startups, that itself kind of brings in a lot of flow of ideas itself. So we are actually also collaborating with another assistive technology startup based out of IIT Madras and incubated out of HTIC itself. So that entire cross-pollination really helps, because then we are able to kind of like exchange ideas, think about new things that we can do together. So that hotbed of kind of like companies working on specific things, even like assistive technology, it's really helpful to kind of like just open up our own minds. This is very true of the assistive technology space. Like a lot of times we come from this angle that, you know what, I understand what that blind person wants, I understand what that autistic user wants, which we may not. We may have assumed from our learnings, but unless you speak to the parent, speak to the person itself, speak to the person with the disability itself, that's when we'll kind of understand what their kind of like core problem is. So if you know someone in your circles, in your friends, family, who has a speech disability, or who maybe an adult or even a child, feel free to share about Avaz, or just kind of like encourage them to talk more about it. Sometimes parents go in a shell and they don't want to talk about it because their child has autism, they find it to be a stigma. But I would encourage as much as possible to, while you give them their space, but also encourage them to kind of talk about it and maybe spread the word about there are these solutions available, not only ours but many more. There are these solutions available where their child can actually unlock their full potential. They don't need to keep their child kind of locked in. I think that's kind of like one key message. So there are a lot of new solutions, technologies that are available, interventions, support. There are parental support groups, there are communities, all of that are available. So if you know someone who has a family member with disability, I would encourage you to kind of like speak to them and share about Avaz and other assistive technology stuff with them.